This week on Big Eyes, can you get burnt out on too much shonen? We sit down and discuss our feelings on Shonen Jump so far this year with My Hero, Demon Slayer, Boruto, Super, and so much more. But is it too much? So stay tuned for this week's episode of the Big Eyes Podcast.
And welcome back. This is an all new Big Eyes, and we are here today. I am AD. Of course, you got LJ over here, and
it's a new week.
It is a new week, but I'm not gonna hold you, dog. I'm kind of depressed. Like I'm getting kind of sick of the
manga doing that to you, bro. It's not even seasonal. Man, this is not even seasonal depression. This is manga depression right now.
Man, listen.
This is what a lack of heat does to a person.
Man, I'm just saying, dog. Like, I know we've had the discussion. How do you feel about what's been going on, man? Like, how do you feel about this week in Shonen Jump?
This week in Shonen?
Like, not just this, like, we can say this week, but like over the past few weeks in Shonen Jump, like since the new year started. Let's say that.
I think that, I say since the year has started, I think we went into the year, obviously, with a lot of stories and a lot of transitional times.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, MHA, JJK is not really in transitional. I think Akutame just has this thing where he just likes shit to run really long form and for really long periods of time. I truly just think that is his style of telling a story.
Yeah.
I don't know though. I can't really say that there's been anything that has blown me away. I mean, I've been pushing the agenda on Blue Box and some other mangas that are coming up. I think Aishima. I think like those mangas have been doing a great job of keeping me invested and interested. I think that some of the bigger names they're just in a weird spot and they just haven't been enjoyable to read. I think MHA really does not do good if we figure this out on this week on this chapter. I don't think MHA has been doing well when it comes to telling the hero side of the story. And I think a big reason of that though is because coming out of not the coming out of like the paranormal liberation army,
Yeah. Coming out like just this big war, what I mean?
And not even just like the war. I think it's from this point on, or from that point of, we get My Villain Academia.
Mm-hmm.
I think they had something so good with My Villain Academia that jumping back to the heroes, and especially how like the world is built in that story right now, where the heroes are like, they're the underdogs right now. They have society against them. They have, obviously, the villains are running amok. Like the villains is running up the score on them, and so when you're looking at it from that point, you have these heroes that you have to build up again. In a sense of, you have to make them look cool again. You have to make the heroes look like cool heroes that are gonna come and save the day, and they just haven't done that. Every time the villains pop up though, you're like, damn, the villains look so cool right now.
Yeah.
Like they're doing, you know what I'm saying? Like they're really just they're just running around doing their thing. Like even in this latest chapter, I think the dynamic between Toga and Toya, and you seeing Toga kind of go through this kind of like, you can see she's going through some emotional turmoil. You can see Toya still,
she got PTSD.
like she's going through some shit, and it's like she's on this teetering line of, you really don't know what Toga feels like. We really could see a face turn. You can see a turn. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't really know what she's really feeling right now. But then you bring back this. You bring back the possibility of Twice and his powers, coming back, and then you got this possibility, then you got Toya who's still on this, like, man, he is really trying to twist and turn the knife in his dad right now.
Yeah.
And then you go back to like their hideout, and you know, it's obviously All For One there, and still on just his menacing tip of he's just running this huge operation from the shadows. You could just see that he doesn't have. There's not a. I think what I love so much about All For One as a villain is that there's never a moment where he looks like he's defeated. Even that moment when, you know, the big battle between him and All Might, and he does lose, there's never a sense of defeat from him though.
Yeah.
Like he has never like taken an L in a weird way. And so I don't know, man. I think MHA. I wish that we focus a lot more on the villains. I just think that he's just been telling a better story with them, and it's just nice to get away from the hero shit, because the hero things has been kind of the same. Like, there's not much that he's done different with them.
Yeah, and I would say, like, I agree with you in all of those points, and I will say it's interesting because of, in this latest chapter, you see, I don't know the guy's name, but he's talking to Spinner. And he brings up the point about, like, even villains can be someone else's type of hero, you know what I mean? Like, there's even that kind of point into it. So it's like, who's the real hero? Who's the real villain? You know what I'm saying? Who are you really standing up for? And I think this world has been set up to where it's like, okay, from the outset, the heroes look cool because we're following the heroes, we're following the protagonists, and we're seeing the things that they go through. But then you see, like, the villains coming up, and you see the shift in power, you know, come about, and through all of these events in the last 2 or so years, you know what I mean? And once we get to where we are now, it's like, okay, the villains, we've seen the villains have their, like, growth and development throughout the story. Like, we've seen, like, the kids have their growth and development because, like, those are who we are following, but the villains have had just as much growth and development. So when we see them take over, like, and put the world into chaos with All For One, you know what I'm saying, masterminding the entire thing, and, you know, directing all of these pieces, you see that he's always having a plan. You see that, like, it's just been set up for the villain. So I think with that in mind, when we get into this final arc, it's set up for, like, the heroes to make a huge leap, a huge comeback. And if he doesn't take it, like, if Horikoshi doesn't, like, go all out and, like, set up the heroes to, like, really showcase, like, you know, we are heroes, we are here, like, no pun intended, you know what I mean? But things like that, if he has the ability to put that forth in this next arc, and I think he's just setting up the pieces for it. But it's just like, it's weird, man. Like,
I mean, even if you go to One Piece, I think Wano's been going way too long.
Yeah.
Wano should have been ended. Like, it's like One Piece is at the point where I feel they're doing a lot of shenanigans in One Piece. They're trying to cram a lot into Wano, and I get it. I think that this is such a real big turning point in the moment in the story.
Mm-hmm.
So you have 2 of the 4 emperors, and you have 2 of the 4 emperors, and you got Luffy, and you got kind of like, you know, these other crazy backstories that are all interconnected. But I think at the same time, Oda's just on that thing where he kind of is just doing whatever with no regards to human life. He just don't even care what he's writing. It seems like he's just doing shit.
I don't know about that one, because it's like Oda has been going on for so long. Like, he has so many plot details that he's trying to get through and still explain more. Like, you know, he wants to end the series. Like, we all want One Piece to end at some point, but because he's been trying to flesh out this grand world with these different mysteries and these different twists for the last thousands of years, or however long, like, it arches back in the history of One Piece, you know what I mean? Like, he has so many things that he has to take care of without actually trying to rush and spoil it. And even then, it's like, you know, some things feel like they're being rushed, and other times it's like, all right, we've been here for way too long. Like, why are we still doing this? But when you actually go down and read some of the chapters, it's like, well, damn, like, they really didn't have no time to showcase any of this stuff. Like, we've had some moments every now and again. Like, we had some moments with Frankie, we had some moments with Robin, but, like, those are back characters, right? And we still got these other characters that we got to get through. We got to get through Law, Kid, the folks who work under Kaido, you know what I'm saying? The things that happen to the Big Mom's crew, the actual history of Wano, You know what I mean? Like there's so many things that he has to fit in all at once. Where it's like, damn, Oda really be trying to like do all of this in 19 pages.
He's trying to cram too much in, bro. But like, you know what? I'll say this though. This year so far, the biggest thing that I've learned is that I have to remind myself that end of the day, I'm not really the target audience for these stories.
Yeah.
Like we're not. Like we're really not though. Like we're mid-20s, we're older. The mangaka who are writing these stories, they're writing these stories with the mindset of I think Akutami is a little different. I think he's younger, so he's able to you could tell throughout his references, he's one of us. You know what I'm saying? He's done the Fight Club references. He does the Jennifer Lawrence. You know what I'm saying? Like he's done these little references throughout. You can tell that he's definitely more in tune with pop culture, and he's kind of writing these things for with people, his peer group in mind. Yeah. But also at the same time, Shonen Jump and Shonen mangas, they're written in the mind of for teenage boys. These are for things that like I would think My Hero was the greatest shit in the world at 16 years old. I really would. Yeah. Like I really would. I would think My Hero is the most amazing thing in the world. I would think that
something like Black Clover would probably be something gas because it's
you know what I'm saying, like something like Black Clover, because it's like, whoa, all this action, like look at this, like they still do the raunchiness, they still do the big action scenes. It's not really hard to digest. Like MHA, end of the day, they touch on some deeper themes, definitely, especially now. But overall, it's not a hard manga to digest. It's not a, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like it's nothing that's like, it's nothing deeper than what it really is. Yeah. And I think my issue sometimes is that I think a lot of these mangas, I think they attempt, but I mean at the same time, I think they do understand that they got older fans, especially on the Western side of things. I think there's definitely more older manga readers than younger.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think that even with that in mind, like, because we are becoming the age group that, one, grew up with a lot of these stories, so we're following like some of the newer things. But two, because we're older, we get the income now to actually go out and like buy these things. You know what I'm saying? We actually get to buy the volumes or buy the subscription service to, actually read it. Like, we can go on the websites like in the old days. We still do every now and again, you know what I'm saying? But like, reading manga in these certain formats, but we can actually like properly do these things. Everything is about subscription. Everything is about, buying the things when they come out. That's how we support the release, the authors, all of these things. And I think that's with our age group, because I even just, how we see every now and again on the timeline, like sales of all the different series, and we just see like Demon Slayer, Jujutsu Kaisen, number one every month. But like, you also got to think about who is actually buying those, who actually has the money to buy each volume. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I mean, it's real. But I mean, also at the same, these kids, a lot of these kids probably got some type of job, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, they like since again, they're teenagers. It's not like I know they probably got some type of side gig where they're, but it brings up a point though that there ain't 30 million teenagers. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So it's, they definitely have a wide range. But I mean, I think that some of the things that you've listed are pretty special in terms of, I think Demon Slayer is a very simplistic, like, it's a simple story. There's not much more to Demon Slayer than here are these people that fight demons, and that they have one demon that they're all trying to kill. That demon has some henchmen. We got to kill these henchmen to kill this demon. And that's really it. You know what I'm saying? Like, there isn't no secret backstory of like the Demon Slayer Corps was actually once, started by Muzan, and he was one. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like there's not much craziness to the story. you know, and it's very straightforward. I mean, if we even look at these, I mean, they did these 2 side stories which were absolutely amazing.
Oh yeah.
That released on the 18th. I think. Listen, bro, I'm gonna be real. This my favorite one shot, whatever y'all want to call it, short, whatever. It's my favorite thing released so far this year. I mean, we're only a month in. This is number 1 for me in terms of things that have been released. But no, like, it's a simple story though, and like you can tell. But also at the same time, they take risk. I mean, obviously you look at Mugen Train movie, like the Mugen Train movie. I mean, they kill one of the Shearers, one of the most beloved characters on the show. They kill him. By the end of the story, none of them are pretty much living. I think there's probably 4 survivors of the fight.
Yeah, probably 4 or 5 for real.
4 or 5 survivors of the fight. You know, like, you know, they take those risks. Those things happen, and it just is what it is, and they keep it pushing. There is no like deeper, like, you know what I'm saying, like he wasn't afraid to kill people out. They were able to do that kind of mature thing. It was gory. There was these moments. So once again, a very good way of a wide range and get younger fans into it, because teenage boys love violence. Yeah. And older fans, because it's like, I ain't got to read this real complex ass story, and I still get kind of this, you know, I get the violence, I get all the extras in it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I think even Tokyo Revengers is the same way, regardless of how we're feeling about that ending. Like, they're able to kind of teeter that line. I mean, Jujutsu Kaisen once again does it well, where they're able to expand their content a bit, and they're able to kind of make these decisions and do these things where you can get these older fans and get these younger fans. MHA, I think older fans are so tapped out of it, because I mean, they only did 7 million. But the thing with MHA though is, I think MHA though, when you're talking about kids, MHA is way more popular with the kids.
Let me see MHA volume sales.
I think it was like 7 million last year, something crazy like that.
In 2019, 7 million in 2021.
7 million.
Yeah.
Now I promise you, 75%, maybe 80% of those albums were from kids between the ages of probably like 13 and 19 or 13 and 21. You know what I'm saying? Like, they probably got a really young fan base. But to them, like MHA is like young boy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, MHA is like young boy to manga fans. Like, you ask a 16-year-old kid who's the greatest rapper of all time, they're easily gonna say like Young Boy or Kodak or something. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But it's like, that's their focal, like that's their viewpoint from it. Obviously, they're gonna say that. You know, I think like MHA is just one of those things. I mean, and it mixes everything that's hot with kids right now: superheroes, anime. These, you know what I'm saying, crazy fight sequences and crazy big pop moments. No one really ever dies, so you could always get some type of big reveal return, or someone can pop up easily. I mean, even looking at the Mirio moment, like he loses powers, he doesn't really die, then it's like this big war happens and he pops back up and you're like, oh shit, like Mirio comes at the heat of this. You know what I'm saying? Like, they do these things where it's like it's low risk, high reward for them.
Yeah, I agree. And I think with that in mind, though, when we know the direction that MHA takes, and we also got to factor in like a lot of the anime stuff that happens, like with these big pop things like MHA, when we know what happens in season 6 and how that's going to end, and you know, all the details regarding that, you would think that when older people who also watch anime but may not read manga tap into that, they might be like, oh shit, this is what niggas been sitting on for like the last 2 years. Like, I might have to catch up. What's going on here? Like, how are they finna get out of this? Because like, when we went through it, like, that was really a big thing. That was a big thing that we was talking about between 2020 and 2021. So I mean, like, with that stuff, I think one of the things I would like to see that Shonen Jump has also been capitalizing on, but we just aren't really like seeing enough returns on, is like the spin-off stuff. Because like you said with the Demon Slayer, that the spin-off thing with Rengoku and Giyu, that shit was tight. Like,
also shout out to the mangaka who wrote it.
Ryoji Hirano.
That's really dope, because I mean, first of all, he's a year older than me, which is really tight. Secondly, this is he got a one shot 2 years ago. He had a one shot, then he had a short series. It ended in 15 chapters, but he's came back. He wrote this. I mean, when you're talking about like real published work, what like what he just did right here, it's probably like his second, third thing he's ever done.
Yeah, and it's like I
which
know
is
it's
just
it's gonna
crazy.
sell, bro. Like
yeah, like this is crazy. You know, like this is like the second, third thing he's ever done is this Demon spinoff series, or you know, this Demon spinoff series. He did another one. I don't think that was on this, but it was like a short comedy one. It was nothing. I think it was on one pager, anyways.
yeah.
But he does these 2 spinoff series that are amazing. Both are really great. They tell a beautiful backstory for Gyu, and they draw in the other Hashiras, and they another great backstory over in Goku of how he becomes a Hashira, and I like how they both take on this angle point of what does a Hashira mean to each one of them.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, Gyu throughout the story is a very reserved and quiet. You could really tell that this Ashira shit's really he's just here to protect. They're both here to protect people, but their motivations and their
because
their hearts are like in different places of the same thing, which is weird to say. Like, they both want this same thing where they're creating peace and giving peace to a world, but their motivations behind it are 2 completely different motivations.
Yeah. And I agree with you on that. And like you also get to see like with Gyu how, because both of them take place during the timeline of Demon Slayer. So we see like how Gyu was affected after he met Tanjiro and his sister Nezuko, you know what I mean? And he sees like with the story following a girl who wants to meet her dad and see if he actually turned into a demon. How do you come up off that? And you kind of see him become sympathetic towards her. And then with the Goku stuff, you see like his dad was a Hashira, and how one of the demons fought his dad back in the day, so now he wants revenge, and it's an all-out fight from there. So you see kind of like the passing the torch with him. It's both of those like tell some really good stories and like flesh out those characters that we really didn't get a chance to see in the main line of Demon Slayer. And that's why I'm like, I like the spinoff stuff. I like seeing like in Vigilantes, we see more of all the side heroes. Like we see Fat Gum, Aizawa, Mirko, all of them in like their own things. I love when we get these sides. Even like, remember with the Promised Neverland, we got the Isabella and Crone chapters. You know what I mean? Like,
oh man, listen, Demon Slayer definitely has space and room to do I think a full spin-off series.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They have enough story, at least. They have enough backstory. I wouldn't want them to do nothing. There's nothing I truly want a sequel for. The only thing I want a sequel for is The Promised Neverland. That's because like the human world is so much like that's fucked up on its own.
Yeah, definitely. I would definitely love to see a sequel for The Promised Neverland. But I do agree with you. Like, well, let me think about it. Because
there's nothing really backstory wise. I mean, unless they do the whole like how the deal came in place and like what the world was like beforehand.
Yeah.
But even then though, like I think we got enough of that in the original story. I think seeing how they try to survive in the human world and like them having to deal with the human world we saw a glimpse of the human world. We're like, it's kind of fucked up here.
These niggas got corona too. Like shit.
You're hilarious. You're wild, man.
I'm saying, dog. When I first saw that chapter last time, I was like, well, damn. Like, all right.
Yeah, the niggas living different out there.
But yeah, no, I feel what you're saying. Like, I'm trying to think about in terms of what's in Shonen Jump right now, and like far along enough to where, what would you want a spinoff from? Because like with My Hero, we got Vigilantes, that's about to end. They do got like the side team up mission stuff, and that stuff is kind of fun, but like it's not really like it's really low stakes in.
So I'm saying, I think that's my issue. I feel like I've just turned into the biggest My Hero hater, but I will still tune in and talk about it every single week, and it's frustrating. I feel that I've just turned into a grumbling old man about this. But it's like you said, they're not really taking much risk. There's no real risk they're taking. I think that's why I enjoy Vigilantes though, because once again, it's a pretty straightforward story. Like you get some. I mean, obviously, you wouldn't have been able to get Vigilantes without My Hero because it tells it tells all the backstory, it tells whatever. But I don't know. It's more much. It feels like a more mature story. It feels like like they're dealing with real life shit. So a part of like most of the story. Pop trying to figure out, like, legit, there's like a whole arc in there where Pop's just trying to figure out how to make some bread.
Nah, for real.
She's just trying to like learn, like she's just trying to hustle. Like she's like, man, I gotta figure out how to make some money. Like I don't, and I'm like, damn, like that's a real life ass thing. But like they tell it in a way where it's like, how would a person with in a superhero society with powers, how would you use your powers and make your ass some money?
Exactly.
Right? Like that's a real ass question that I would like, I would never thought about that.
Exactly.
Also, they're older, they're older in the story. I mean, but there has been a jump in terms of older protagonists. I mean, we brought up Kaiju number 8.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, shit, Sakamoto days. Sakamoto's like what?
Oh yeah, he's like
40?
30. I think he's like 30.
Man, he's like, man, he old, he mid 30s.
Yeah,
like 37.
Yeah, he got to be somewhere.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think there is a shift that's happening in having more mature content or more mature stories, push. But I don't know, man. I don't think Shonen Jump's in a bad spot. I just wish that it wasn't such a clog up top.
Yeah. Well, so here's the funny thing, because I've seen some discussion on the timeline also about like Shonen in general, and I think it's like, is it easy to burn out on Shonen? Like,
oh yeah, super easy. Super easy. Because come on, bro, like how many weird haired main protagonists that has to come back and fighting from like having no powers can we really deal with? These main protagonists be having no depth to them, bro. This is just screaming and vibes and violence. Like I could only take so much. We need a shoujo jump, nigga.
Man, listen. I wouldn't mind reading some stuff.
I need a shoujo jump. That's what I need. I need nothing but cute. Like that's why I be reading. Like, I mean, that's what I do. Where I like been reading or trying to read more shoujo manga. I need some recommendations.
I need some too.
Or like more slice of life stuff from what I'm saying. I think that's why I like Blue Box so much, because the Blue Box is just like, that's real emotion. Ain't no power in vibe. Like, ain't no violence. They're just trying to figure life out.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think I've been growing to appreciate more of the fact that end of the day, I understand this is manga. I understand that, but you gotta tell me a story. There's only so much that cool panels can do for me.
Yeah.
Like you even looking at like Boruto and Dragon Ball Super right now is kind of an example. I mean, it's a bad example, I feel like, but it's an example of two mangas kind of doing the same thing but in different ways.
Yeah. And it's so sad because it's like, when you think about both of those series, they technically don't need to exist because they're sequels. Like they already told their story, but they're just adding on to like the world and like adding more layers to what they've already established. Like even with this latest chapter of Boruto, like we kind of know how it starts, like how the story of Boruto starts, because he's fighting Kawaki and something happened to Naruto. But like in the end of this chapter, we see that they're having this fight right now, still as their kids. They aren't teenagers yet, but Boruto got stabbed in the chest. Like this man is bleeding out on the ground right now. So what's really about to happen? You know what I mean? Like with the super thing, it's like they're telling a different story. Like they're adding more layers to establish things, and that's kind of cool. That's all right. But at the same time, it's still just like action and vibes. Like you can't escape that with Dragon Ball. That's just what it is.
Oh yeah, I mean, but like, man, I think Boruto's at least trying.
I mean, I wouldn't say Super isn't trying. It's just like it's Dragon Ball. It's just Dragon Ball. That's why I'm like
that. Super is, I think my issue with Super is that they're continually trying to recapture the essence that Z has, and it's not like the magic isn't there. This doesn't have the magic that Z has, because I think Z was one of those everything, the stars all completely aligned for Z, because Z provided so many first for so many people and for so many moments and so many things for Western anime. Z was the, like, you know what I'm saying, like, people remember that first Saiyan transformation. We remember that, and I think they keep trying to do that, and you're like, all right, how many times can we actually do this before it like actually loses its luster? But like, even things on like Ultra Instinct, like, was Ultra Instinct really that like cool when we first saw it? Like, it looked cool. Like, outside of I'll say the best Ultra Instinct moment is when that fool wrote the Kamehameha against Kefla.
I mean, that was probably
the hardest moment Ultra Instinct had. But it's like, these transformations ain't really nothing new though. It's not. It's like, oh, his hair color has just changed. Like, even now with this, with Gas and Granola and all that, like, you get the granola, you get the Gas transformation. Like, he hasn't tapped into his power. It's like a cell shit though. It's like a cell thing. It's like, now he has this perfect form. Now, you know what I'm saying? They always go, now he goes like, he has his base form. Then he got, it's like, it's really imperfect, but you see that he's way stronger, and then now he's on his perfect form. It's the same, like, once again, they're trying to consistently capture this essence that Z has, and they can't do it. Z was just one of those things that was like a once in a month. You know what? I at least give GT respect, because GT was like, as bad as it was, or people say it was, they at least tried some different shit. It didn't click. Bro,
I don't even know about that, because
they made this nigga a kid again. They introduced niggas being in hell. They introduced the Dragon Balls having some type of limit, and like, you know what I'm saying. Then like, all these, now you got all these the Dragon Balls actually got real dragons in them. That, you know what I'm saying, like, Shenron got all these multiple different forms. Baby, kind of go back to the android shit. Like, they tried something different. You can't really say any of those things. I mean, outside of Baby.
I mean, nah, because all of those things.
Baby was like Boo and androids mixed together.
I gotta disagree with you, because GT blended Dragon Ball and Z together to come up with what it did. Because like, when you think about GT, because Goku starts off as a kid, you know, that's the essence of Dragon Ball. They tried to go back to the roots of like exploration. But this time, this nigga's in space. Now, who does he have along with him? He got Trunks and Pan. So it's like, they try to capture the little exploration part of Dragon Ball, but in addition, it's in space. So it's kind of like that you remember the early Dragon Ball where it's Krillin, Bulma, and Gohan traveling to Namek, and that's what that first part of GT is like. And then you get into, of course, the baby stuff, which is probably the most interesting thing in my opinion. But it still feels like Android shit. And then we actually get into Android shit. And the stuff with Hell kind of came up in Z. Like, it does remix a lot of things. So I don't know, man. Like, I think just because it
seems that they tried a little bit more with GT.
I mean, I don't, because here's the thing, bro. Like, I think just with Super in general, it's a little too late. It's a little too late. Because we done had all of these great series that have already come out and like told the remix of Dragon Ball, but better. Like, we've seen better transformations in Naruto. We've seen those things happen in Bleach. You know what I'm saying? We done had the era of the big three plus some come out before Super decided to start even releasing. So I think like just with Super in general, we already know like, okay, like what's more complex than, you know, the basic stuff that Z told us. Like, what are you doing with Super? So when we actually get into like, okay, it's sort of about Vegeta. They're sort of they nerf Gohan.
Also, we gotta tap into the Super chapter, because like, obviously it was just nothing but Granola and Gas fighting. Nothing really happened. But why did Gas gotta punch Vegeta first?
That is kind of funny. That was funny.
Vegeta was just standing on the sideline and took an L, like off of just like he wasn't even doing shit. Shit was
Yeah.
crazy.
Nah, fucking Goku nutted at this nigga. I bucked at this nigga. He nut. He was like, oh shit. Had flashbacks about Bardock.
Man, that shit was crazy.
Yeah. But like that was really all that happened in that chapter. And that's why I'm like, Super is still like in this moment of, you know, there's still no Frieza. What's really gonna happen after this arc?
They're
Like,
never gonna bring Man, listen, they've talked so much about Frieza just to not to put him. Since he's not here already, what's the point?
exactly.
What is the absolute point? Yeah, I ain't with it. I am not with it.
But that's why I'm just like, man, like, because I've been like, even with all of the stuff in Jump, I just finished Twin Star Exorcist, bro, and even that's like Battle Shonen and vibes. It has a little romance in there, but these niggas are just called exorcists for the sake of being called exorcists. They pull up a talisman, and these niggas transform. Like they have, like the designs are cool, but it's really just action in hands and the whole time. Like the story is, I don't know, man. Like a lot of things in Shonen Jump just ain't hitting with a story anymore. Like I like Undead Unluck because they're at least like trying to have fun while they're telling a story, and the story isn't really being left out. Like they're pulling you along for the ride. Even with Ayashimon, like that's just starting out, but like you can see like the story details are there, even though our main character is simple as hell. You know what I mean? But it's just something
But no,
about
but like I think, like you said though, I actually might have some actual story to tell.
yeah.
They're getting into the gang. Yeah. It's like they're getting into the gang warfare. Like really, for me, man, like I don't expect a lot from the main character. I really just the main character is just the person that we're gonna center the story around.
Yeah.
No, not even that. The main character is the person that has the most to prove to me.
Yeah.
That's what the main character is. You got the most to prove because you're supposed to be the strongest. You're supposed to, like you have the most room for growth. Everybody else I know has a cap. Every support character has a cap. You can't like let the support character ever get, you know. And I think with that though, they understand that and they're like, okay, cool. We're just gonna like we can keep him stupid. We can keep him, you know, say all he needs to do is get better at fighting as he goes along. But let's just, you know what I'm saying? Let's just keep it, you know, like let's tell the story around him. Then like what can we do with these characters around him to tell this other bigger story? We can keep him like this. He can be minimal. He can be all this. Everything else around him has to be elevated.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like I'm fine with that. I am perfectly okay with that. I am perfectly okay with the main character really being a hands-off main character.
Yeah.
I think manga and stories like that are I find myself being more geared towards stories like that, where the supporting characters and characters around them have played such a bigger and integral part of the story and how the story progresses and pushes forward.
That's why I think like Jujutsu Kaisen and One Piece can be held in like that same type of tier and regard because they're hands off with Yuji. Like we get a basic setup for Yuji, but then you start to get involved with everybody else. With One Piece, like Luffy has his crew and everybody else in the world that he comes up against. Like we know the basic setup for Luffy, but do we really even care about that? And then when we actually get into those moments where we're supposed to care, like it's just there for a hot story moment and that's it. Like it's not the focus. We're focused about everybody else around Luffy. You know what I mean? So I think Ayashimon is one of those ones where because of how it's set up originally, I think that is going to be one of those things where we can tell the grandest story, not grand, like, because it's going to be small scale because it's like the demon side of Tokyo or whatever. Also, that's what I wanted to tell you. Did you see like the little voice acting thing for Ayashimon? I got to send that to you. That shit kind of played like Jump released it's like a 2-minute video of voice actors playing out the first chapter of Ayashimon.
Oh, and, really? That's hard.
Yeah, and the voice actor for the main character is Bakugo. I think that once you hear it, you'll see like, okay, this really does have the makings of a really good story.
Oh yeah, here for it. I'm here for that.
But yeah, man, I don't know, man. I want to tap into like I've been trying to build up a list of other things that aren't like Shonen Jump heavy. just because of how I've been feeling, man. Like, I want to read this Oshi no Ko because it has the same writer from Kaguya-sama, and I'm like, oh shit, really?
Oh,
Like,
really?
yeah, man. Like, I think that's pretty cool. Like, yeah, man. I think we're just in a different space for a lot of manga and Shonen Jump right now. I think we just need to, you know, let things build up, or at least like get into something different. Here it is.
That's cool. That's nice that they did that though.
Yeah.
Yeah, just try some other shit. I don't know, man. Just try some other stuff. Ain't too crazy. I ain't asking for much. But nah, man. I mean, the perils of being a shonen show, the things that come with shonen just being the main genre of anime.
Yeah. That's the other thing is like, because shonen is so easy to digest, like
that's what I'm saying. It's very easy to digest. It's there. A lot of these things have zero to no, like, to little, like, real substance to them.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are able to get away with shit because they're so action packed. You know what I'm saying? They're able to have these big pop moments or all these things, but. Once again, I think end of the day though, I think you still have to have a good story.
Yeah.
You still have to have a good story. I think the issue with once again going back to My Hero is that I don't think they're good week by week.
Mm-hmm.
Week by week, they're not fun to read.
Well, yeah.
Arc by arc, if you read them as you take it as a whole instead of the part, it's always better to me.
Yeah, I think it's a better binge. Like, though the arcs in between may not hit the same, I think once you actually go back and review and binge everything that happened, it's like, oh shit, this is actually kind of nice. It's just, it takes so long to get to that point where it feels satisfactory. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't feel satisfactory in the end because of like, okay, well, now we're at this point. What's the next thing that's about to happen? Like, okay, they're setting up so much details for this week by week. We got to worry about Aoyama being the traitor. We got to worry about how we're going to get him to be a triple agent. We got to worry about like what's going on the other side. You know what I'm saying? Setting up all the pieces in motion for the last, month and a half, 2 months, really. It's so much with My Hero that is like it isn't fun, but I think that's also why we have to tap into like the other stuff. Like Blue Box has definitely been fun to read. Lucius Samurai is in their war bag right now, but like that's still also kind of like it's trying to still be interesting in its own way. I think the surprising thing is like with PPP, like the 6P one, it's really looking like it's about to be a hit. I don't know, like, but we just it's music. It's music. It's music, and we're reading manga. Like, that's one thing I will say about a lot of series. Also, like, a lot of the more recent series have been able to kind of give details that you can apply to real life. If you don't understand like the concept of something, like I feel like the manga, if you're kind of applying it, like it can be exaggerated as much as it wants to be. Like that's all fine and dandy. You can go research it on your own, but like I think at the same time, like you have to be able to have something that you have to have a concept that you're explaining very well that the reader can easily understand and be pulled into your world with. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like we understand curses in such a way, but like when it gets to that point where JJK needs to explain how shit is actually happening, that's where it's like, okay, we got to sit down. We actually got to draw out all of these things. That's where JJK gets kind of funky in its bag, but at the same time, like those are just also excuses for like the crazy shit happening. I think with My Hero just being superheroes, that's so basic and generic in general. Like, I have a power, I'm a superhero, or I want to be a hero because I'm special in this certain way. Like those type of things, you know what I mean?
No, yeah, definitely. I mean, I'll say this: I'm very excited for the new stuff, though. I think a lot of the newer stuff. I wish there was just more way for like there was more of a clear runway for them. You know?
Yeah.
On Shonen Jump. I mean, Ashley got the cover though this week. Shout out
to
them.
Yeah. Second anniversary.
Shout out to them. 2 years.
Yeah, man.
They're looking good. That's another fun one. I like the comedy. I love Mashal. It's hilarious. I love the dry humor. I love the fact that they don't take themselves serious at all.
Like none. Yeah.
None at all. Like even when they're trying to be serious, they're like, this is a complete joke. It's great. But man, listen, I think this is gonna be an exciting year though for SJ. I think just once the newer series really start having some more, JJK and MHA are about to end now. I'm pretty sure they're going to be proactive in what series they're going to try to push up more once these two end.
Yeah. It's Chainsaw Man ain't coming in this one.
Chainsaw Man, we got until what, summer for Chainsaw Man?
But they're not even coming in like regular Shonen Jump. They're going to the Kaiju number 8 plus stuff. Like, so they're going to be with Spy Family and Kaiju number 8.
Chainsaw Man is?
Yeah.
Nah, but man, he shows up for work though, so I'm not too worried. He shows up for work. It's not like we're gonna be going, 21 days between chapters.
Oh yeah, no. The one thing I am afraid of is like him taking 2 chapters to explain like 10 seconds worth of the scene. Like, I'm afraid of that.
No, I can't be afraid of that when fucking Akutame does that shit for 18 chapters.
But because when you think, I'm talking about specifically for the Gun Devil shit. I'm talking about for the Gun Devil shit because it was like it took him 2 chapters to go through Gun Devil, and I'm like, damn son, like this is where we at now.
Man, we'll be alright. He'll be alright. If Uchimoto shows up for work, he does his thing.
Yeah, he does.
He does his thing. So, but nah, man, that was a fun discussion.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But shout out to everyone who stuck around for this episode of the Big Eyes Podcast. As always, you can make sure you follow us at The Lookout. Make sure you subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube also, and follow us on Instagram, The Lookout RNC, and make sure you follow RNC Radio Live, and do your thing over there. Overly Medicated is back, which is super dope. Shout out to RSPN. They'll be dropping same day y'all hear this. So NBA's being a nice little drama show. Oh, yeah. This is great. Shit, I'm trying to think what else. There ain't really nothing else to plug. Hey, AD, what's the sign off?
You already know. Please read more manga, watch more anime, and be on the lookout, only on the lookout for the Big Eyes Podcast.